Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Another fun-filled day. Happy to hump day to everybody. I guess that's what it is, isn't it? There we go. And you can see there we're looking at the Swissy. And let's go to the chat line. See what we can find on the chat line. Let's see, right there. So the Swiss is, you can see, kind of popping up yesterday, and now it's weakening. So that means the dollar popped up a little bit yesterday, and more than likely is weak, becoming weaker against other pairs trades. And where's that at? No, there's not. We still can't get up on there. What's up with this? Where's Doc at? We know it's Dukascopy. Let's go to home. There we go. Okay, I can't see the chat line, but I'm sure we will see it soon. It'll spit out any minute now, and I'll be able to see the chat line. So far, no go. A no go. Let's try it one more time. And then we'll go to home. So anyway, all right, I'll give up on it for the time being. There we are. And I'm going to go to another computer, and we'll find the chat line there. Chatty, chatty. So that's the only way we really look at this. We see the when the Swiss is going down, the dollar is going down, and when the Swiss is going up, the dollar is going up, and that's where we basically watch this whole action. So now we've gotten to the point where we watch the we start off with the Swiss franc against the dollar, which is a good way of doing that. I'm trying to tune into the chat line to make sure no one's saying, "Hey, hi there, ho there, hey there." Let's see, not there, not there. We'll find it in a few seconds here. Hang tight, and I'll be able to see the chat line. Let's see, where is it? Let's go to YouTube. YouTube Dukascopy. Let's see if that'll do it. Now I saw the euro. Let's take a look at the euro. The euro was marching down last I looked. Okay, now it's popping again. Okay, so we got doing the same thing as what we saw with the Swiss franc against the dollar, and it's the best way of describing what the dollar is really doing. And to me, that makes a lot of sense. Let's say YouTube there. I'm trying to get into YouTube Dukascopy. I'm not sure why it's doing that, but I'm not going to really care. Okay, so webinars. There we go. Okay, I think we're getting warmer on the second computer. There I am. Hooray for me. All right. And nobody's chatted, so that's good. So that's fine with me. All right. So that's where we're at the moment. The action is kind of like the pressure is kind of mixed. I mean, when we go back to you can see it there on Dukascopy's J4X. It's trying to pop up a little bit, which means the dollar is going up in value, and you see that thing going on there. So let's see, and then here, this is the euro on Chicago Quant, and it closed in a sell yesterday. Matter of fact, we need to put a line in there and make that reddish. And now it's doing, wrong reddish. I want the line to be red. There we are. And you can see there it's going down, and you can see this is trying to hit the weekly and is rolling over, and that is line 14 right there, where we're 4 weeks in a sell and 1 day in a sell. And same thing now, and obviously what is normal, and that is that the dollar obviously is going up if it's in a sell. So that's the ticket there. Okay, now we can jump over to the cable. Let's see what the cable's up to. Cable flirting with the daily sell, as you can see. Oh, you can't see. So flirting with the daily sell right there, and it's trying, but it's still in that buy, and you can see it has lifted up here too. And we've got a weekly that's really showing some strength in here. It seems like it wants to go up, so that's not too bad. I mean, in the sense of we keep on thinking the cable's undervalued all the time anyway. Just because of its industrial base and the way it's wiggled its way out, or it's wiggling its way out of the European Union, which is basically a hindrance to economic prosperity. They definitely are a problem, and so that's where we're at. Let's see now. Let's get rid of this. There we are. All right, now I got the other computer going, so you can't hear me in the background twice. And so yeah, that's basically the whole gist of it all. Watching the cable show a little bit more life is always nice, because it makes me feel like, yeah, I guess I do understand the fundamentals, and that's pretty much what I'm looking at there. Is that the fundamentals? We're looking for, we're trying to understand what the people who trade by the fundamentals are seeing. A lot of times we're ahead of the fundamentals. A lot of times we're, beyond what the fundamentals are even remotely talking about. And in this case here, the fundamentals are talking about the idea that this thing should turn up. And at the same time, we are seeing a battle all the time with our quant fighting to lift this up. And, well, we'll just watch the cable do its thing, I guess, more than anything else over time. All right. What else do we go to now? We can go over to Turkish Lira. It just missed getting into the sell there yesterday. It was flirting with it, and they turned it back up again. And they just cannot, not knock this thing down. We're looking at a high today of 795.95 basically, and the all-time high now is 795.74. So today is another all-time high. Let's just double check that. Yep, today is another all-time high. This product is constantly inching its way to the 8 handle. No idea what it'll do with the 8 handle. I mean, I would think that Turkey will try to defend its currency somehow. Or maybe not. Maybe this is the policy. I mean, you have to imagine this is the policy of the prime minister / now president. Since he has become in those power positions, the product has gone from 1.5 up to almost 8 now. So this must be the policy and the direction that he's going in, that he's looking, to do. Because obviously, if he didn't want it to do this after all these years as both prime minister and then president, he would change his policies, right? So this must be the direction they're looking for. So traders who like to trade this product or need to trade this product, just assume that there's more pressure always on the upside than there is on the downside. Okay, let's see. Let's jump over to the Canadian. Canadian's trying to get back up into the daily buy. You can see here we rolled over yesterday, just barely got into it, but the histogram and the white line was just too minus to turn it up. It did have a green dot. Now today we've got a green dot, and the product itself is trying to move down. It's lower, and this is just dancing along on the edge there. You can see that. That's minus. Is that just minus? Just a hair of its chinny chin. 0.00037. I mean, just on the edge. You can see here we are pressing more and more into the weekly sell. So we're seeing that pressure there at the same time. And what else can we say about Canadian? Usually what we do is we look at the Canadian, and then we look at the NASCAD, the loonie trade, and then we look at the oil market. So I think we'll just roll along there with that, because it's a quiet morning, and no one seems to be really jumping out and saying, hey, Doc, what do you think about this, that, and the other thing? Yeah, it's quiet. All right. Let's go over to the NASCAD. Right. Where is it at? NASCAD. There it is. And you see here it closed in the daily buy a couple days back. Yesterday it was up. It's up again firm here. And you can see our weeklies are minus. So it's kind of stuck in that conundrum of neutral. Now, let's just, for the sake of it, take a look at the oil market. Oop, where are you, oil market? Right there. And you can see here, let's widen this out. You see, this is trying to lift up the same way as the Nasdaq is doing. It's in a sell. Oil is in a buy, weekly buy for one full week, heading for another full week. We'll see what that does. See if we can get into a daily buy and then take off. And that's pretty much. Would be nice if they gave us a daily buy today. We'd put it into the. Oh, hey, 47. How you doing? How about the S&P? Sure. Let's jump over to the S&P. S&P right there. Kind of sideways, a lot of green. You see the white line is beating down on the time manifold on the daily. But the weekly, it's through the weekly. It's been in a daily buy now for 3 full days, trying to stay in there for a fourth. And you can see we closed in the weekly last week, so it's doing exactly what it should be doing, or what it's trying to tell us. It's telling us what it's doing is accurate. Sometimes it talks and we don't listen, but most of the time we try to. So that is where we are with that product in particular. All right. What are you thinking about the S&P? Anything particular, or you just like to see where we are with our work? Let's take a look at it on J4X, see if it came from the lows and moved up. Right there we are. No, that's the wrong thing. That's Zetra DAX, I think. Right there, there it is. There we go. I mean, you can see it's come way off right here. We're real low, and it's been gliding along since there. Just one strong, consistent buy. We went into the buy at the same time, I guess you could say. Let's see if we do this. So this was on the 24th of September, and and we went into a daily buy on the 25th, right there. So it's been one nice little ride there up, and we went into a sell for a day and then just went right back into the buy again. You see here, it just stayed steady, tried to break underneath for a day and turned back up. So the J4X interpretation we use is always a nice, interesting one. It's the hinky-ashy, and it kind of emulates the dots, and the two different stochastics, the slow and the fast, emulate the rhythm to our quant, and so the purple dashed line also at the same time. So it's always a nice little tool. If you don't have me in my chart, you have that, which gives you a 70% correlation to my work, which is pretty high correlation, I would think. At least I think it is. All right, what else can we look at here? Let's go over to... we were looking at crude, so let's just take a look at that crude again. You can see crude trying to lift up, and it would be nice if it would close in a daily buy. Now, obviously, this has got a lot of work to do. More than likely, maybe tomorrow, Thursday, they try to lift this thing. We'll see if they put a pop into it. Kind of hard to say. I don't see any. I think there is an oil news, right? The report comes out at 10:30 today. The inventory report. So that inventory report can kick it sometimes, and that would be curious to see if that does. Imagine if it throws it into the daily buy. That could be a very interesting move by the end of the day. All right, we can take a look at gold. I'm just double check the chat line, make sure no one's saying anything. Oh, no problem at all, 47. Just marching along, watching the markets. Rolling with the homies. That's what it comes down to, rolling with the homies. Uh, yeah, indeed. So there is that. Now let's move over to gold, unless you want to see something else. There's gold. You can see gold's putting a little charge into it. Um, the metals have been, as much as they try to sell them done, they don't seem to last. They seem to find a way to turn back up. And you can see here we got a green and a red dot together. Let's show you through here. Let's get rid of that. Go like that. You can see that right there. Red and green dots. So we're seeing some strength in there. Wonder what they're doing with silver. Let's see what they're doing with silver. Why can't we get over to? Oh, I see why. There it is. The arrow won't let me get. We'll do it. No. Oh, right on the edge. All right. Let's use the other mouse to get there. There it is. And there is silver. Now silver is trying to get into a daily buy. Let's reload that too. But gold is also doing the same thing. They're both trying to lift up in here. Now this is on the edge. Now that red doesn't belong in there because the lines are not minus. So let's widen that out and show you. Right there like so. There we are. Close, but no cigar. So it's still holding up in the buy, but it's been in the buy since like, where's that at? At 25.10, almost 25.11. We're in the weekly sell, so you can't really be long. You could be long some calls if you wanted to be long calls. And you can see here we're at, our high is 24.60, so it's about 50 cents off of where it went into the daily buy. Hence why we always say trade options against, by themselves against the dailies. But don't trade the spot or the futures because we need a higher percentage of success, especially with a hard delta. Whereas you can see here in gold, it's already trying to climb across, and we were in a weekly buy last week, and now we're underneath it here. So this is a very leery trade at the moment. You wouldn't go rushing into it until towards the end of the day here. And that's pretty much the way we read that. You can see that also has dropped itself down. Yep, that is it. That is it right there. You can see it. So, what else do we got to say about this? When you really look at the all-time high there at that was at 2081.80, and you can see they corrected it all the way down to 1853 or almost 1854, so it's at 46. 46. What's that? About 234 points, 35 points. That's a pretty good correction. It's over a 10% correction, so that's pretty impressive. And you can see here each time it's tried to get into a buy. I mean, we went to the sell here, and we lost another 100 and some odd points from that sell-off. Most of the bulk of it, I guess, like 7-8% of it, something like that, 6%. And maybe we're going to try to turn up into this action here with this flirting with the weekly. Now it's in the weekly at the moment, but it closed last week in the weekly by the hair of its chinny chin chin. But you can see all this week it's been in the sell. So we need a little bit more juice to get this thing rolling along. And I have to assume that that's telling us something about the future of the economy, that they're not reaching for gold. So that tells us that they're not that concerned about what they think the future looks like. Usually gold will go running up when they get enormously paranoid about the future potential of the economy and what everybody's doing and so forth, and the politics of the times, and war and all that other exotic stuff that has a strong play every day. All right. Let's see. Where do we go from here? We can take a look at nat gas. You can see nat gas is still rolling over, and that is really something. We went into that sell here, and we were in a weekly sell and a daily sell, and it gave us a day or two of good profits, and then these gaps were really wild. I mean, they took this product up 25 cents, and now it's lost all the energy. It couldn't get into a daily buy from it, and you can see the weekly is just getting even worse, and they're trying to drive it back down to the area where we ended up in that sell. So that's interesting when we look at the nat gas. I guess maybe there's an interpretation that the weather is not going to be that cold here in the States, in the Northeast. We always try to figure out what could be the fundamental side of this. It's always interesting to see it because we don't know when the fundamentals will actually work and when they don't work. It's like a hit and miss. Sometimes they're tuned in and sometimes they're not. All right, let's see, where are we at now? So that's nat gas. What else can we look at? Oh, you know what I wanted to look at? I wanted to go back to the ruble. Let's go back to the currency. We drifted into the commodities because we were looking at Canadian and the loonie, but I want to see what the ruble's doing here. You can see the ruble's trying to press up and join the weekly again. It's been that long trend of the weekly from the 70 area. It traded up to 80, and you can see here it's trying to get him to the daily buy today. And I just thought that was interesting because I thought we had really dipped kind of low. Let's see if we can contract that a little bit. Yeah, see that caught my eye yesterday. Seeing that real low in here, I thought, and then we're going to try to turn it up. And right now, let's widen this a little bit. You can see the ruble. There is a green dot there. There is a green dot. It's right there. So it's trying to give us that volatility signal at the same time. And it's always interesting to watch the ruble. Solely because of the Russian Federation, and they're in the top 3 oil producers in the world, the Russian Federation, so it brings in enough equity. They have an educated workforce, and there's just a lot of potential there. I do see Turkey and Russia going head-to-head about the Armenia situation. Maybe that's the pressure we're watching right now. So hard to say. All right. What other products look interesting here? Oh, yeah, Zalti had gone into a daily buy 2 days ago. I thought that was interesting. It'd been in a weekly buy for, 2, 4, 6 weeks going on 7, and then we jumped into the daily buy here. What a solid currency. I seen somebody threaten. I saw something crazy. They said something about, I don't know, the European Union said something nasty about Poland. And I guess that's why the currency is a little weaker than norm. And you can see that's when the last sell was. This thing does have a natural tendency to trend well when it gets into a rhythm. It gets into a rhythm relatively well, too. And that's the euro against the Zalti. All right, now, what else? Oh, and Aussie. We talked about Aussie the last couple of days. Right there. And the Aussie has slipped into that sell. And so we see that pressure that's developing there. You can see we've been in a weekly sell for 3 full weeks. And the product is up today, but our algorithm is telling us that it wants to roll over. Such a quiet day. I guess, the election, we're 2.5, 3 weeks away now. I guess it is. What is this? This is the 14th. Yeah, so 16. We're literally like under 20 days away from this election, less than 3 weeks. Looking forward to getting this done and over with. Mr. Trump will get back to work again, doing his thing as El Presidente for the next 4 years. And this time, no coup. One of the first times in our history we've had a coup. So it was really weird to have a coup in the United States. That's something that's very rare. Cuckoo a chew. All right, and there's, you can see the Aussie. Now, I think we've satisfied. Let me see, what other currencies? Oh, I wanted to see what the yen is doing. The pressure is still on the yen. And it's 2, 3, 4 full weeks in a sell. And you can see it there on the spreadsheet too, line 19. 4 full weeks in a sell. That's on that fact check Excel sheet. And you can see 2 full days in a sell. Hasn't really gone in too far in either direction. I don't know if they're going to take out this low or not. I don't have that strong an opinion about this product in particular. Usually when the dollar goes up, this goes up. When the dollar goes down, this product goes down. And, you know, right now it seems like the dollar is confused and going sideways more than anything else. Yeah, I mean, 2.5 weeks to go for an election. They'll sit back and let there's going to be, currencies are going to be kind of slow and steady and sideways, I would think. Now let's look at some. We were looking at I guess it was the South African rand yesterday. Someone asked about that. Where is that at? Dollar rand right there. And we have this box set up, thinking this is a reverse head and shoulders, and it's going to go challenge. That's the all-time high there. Obviously, that government is not doing anything well for the currency either, which is curious. I think they're killing farmers now, like one a day. It's really weird. I guess starvation is the key there. That's what they want to do, some nutty thing. You can see we're getting a little volatility signal here. We do think this looks like the head and shoulders, so we'll watch this. I am curious to see what they're going to do with the South African rand. And then we looked at, where was it? We looked at the Chinese yuan. Now, I have a hard time paying attention to that solely because they just don't trade it enough. You know, it's traded less than 1% in the world's commerce. So for supposedly the second largest industrial nation, no one likes its currency. I find that very curious. That seems to be something that says something about the product. Makes you think, why don't the world like the currency if they think China's doing the right things? All right, and I don't know if this really makes any sense or not. You know, I just can see that our math does follow it fairly well. You know, you can see when it goes into a sell here, it does have a natural tendency. Too bad the options, they don't have decent options for this thing. Buy there, sell here, a buy there that went close to nowhere, a sell here that went down and made money, a buy here that did nothing, a sell that, all the sells seem to make money. This thing seems to want to drive itself south. South it shall be, south it will go. And then what else we got out there? We haven't seen the Mexican peso of late. Let's see what that looks like. See, the peso is trying to lift up in here. There was the sell, and there's the sell there on the weekly. And you can see it played itself down to all the way to here. Finally, it's starting to do something like it's trying to get into the buy. Let's put a line in there for the daily sell right there. There we are. I don't see any questions. No one's. I guess everybody's like, oh, it's Wednesday. It's 2.5 weeks away from the election. You know, we've had enough fun. It seems like that's the way it is today. Yeah, you know, it's just everybody seems to be a little tired. It's the fall now. Pumpkins are everywhere. Guy Fourth? You know, and Halloween. You know, these are the things that are going on. All right, and election. Halloween and election. What a good combination that is. All right. I guess that's about it now with the currencies. It was nice to see the peso and the yen and so forth. I don't see anything else. Oh, let's see what the Bitcoin's doing too. Bitcoin went into a sell there yesterday. I think it did. Now, what is that? Now, how could that... No, Bitcoin is in a buy for 4 days now. I want to check that on there. Somehow or another, I think I accidentally... Let me go find my mouse here. It's just... Yeah, so it's... That is wrong. That's what it is. It's 4. No, 4. 3. 1, 2, 3, and today will be the fourth. That's what it is. Okay, so it's 3. And I knew I got it in the wrong spot. So that's, Bitcoin just kind of, and I was mentioning this yesterday too. Bitcoin is, the exchanges are talking about how Bitcoin is breaking records in transactions. So it's becoming a real mainstream product. Unfortunately, it seems to be more of like a something that joins in with the rest of the products. We've always hoped that it would find its own way. Thinking this esoteric investor, in a sense, the esoteric investor who doesn't have to deal with governments and doesn't have to deal with exchanges and don't have to deal with anything but the pure capitalism of buyers and sellers. We just thought that that would be the purest of the pure, but it seems like when the stock market is going up, this product is going up, and when the stock market's going down, this product seems to be going down. Matter of fact, it would be interesting. We should put a stock index in there too at the same time, because it does seem to be that is the action there. What is that? That's the weekly, I guess. Okay. Let's insert. Let's see. I wonder if we can do that. Put it up in there. And something like go with futures. And let's put the ESs in there. Let's see, where can we put this? I think we should put it underneath. So why don't I do this? We're going to adjust this. And we're going to fix this indicator and make it, format it to properties. Let's make that 3. And then make this one properties. Let's see. Make that. That's interesting. Now, what is this? Close. So this, let's see what the instruments are. There's got to be 2 instruments in there. That's one. Let's make this 4. Properties. Where is that? Go like that. Settings. I'll put that on the bottom. Is that right? I guess that's the way to do it, right? Yeah. Like that. And then let's insert a stock index. Did we lose our sound? Yeah, there it is. And let's put a stock index in here. So close, insert, instrument, ES, futures. There we are. ESZ0 right there. And what we really want to do is we want to put this thing. Let's see. This is. Let's see which one's this. That's the S&Ps. Okay. So now what we want to do is we want to move that up to there, and we want to take this and move it down to there, and take this one and move that settings down to the bottom, like that. There we go. So there's the, oh, okay, and it's doing it as a weekly, so let's put it in there as a daily. There we are. Oh, there's the sound. It just jumped back up again. Okay. So there it is. There's the S&P. And as you can see, let's move this up. You see the rhythm is right with it to a great extent. Made a low here and then turns up and makes another low and turns up again, just like that does. Then breaks down. And then this goes up, and this is basically trying to go up too at the same time. And then you can see, so in other words, they're following each other. This, in other words, the cryptos are not uber independent whatsoever. You can see here, the stock market tops out big. This thing does the same thing. It tops out big. The stock market takes off. This product takes off. So, like I said, we always were hoping that these cryptocurrencies would be more of an esoteric product of the competition, but it doesn't seem to be happening that way. It just seems like it's joined the gang of equity. So, like when my nephew asked me, "Geez, how do you interpret cryptocurrencies and what do you think of them?" I was like, it's just another asset class that works out really well. And he was like, "Oh," "Oh no, this is like land." That's what he said. This is like land. It's very valuable. I was like, okay, very valuable, huh? And that was that. He said that he thought he could have a dialogue with me, but he couldn't. It's like, oh my God, what an insanity that is. So, when you look at these charts, you can see here the cryptos. I bet if we put a currency in there, I wonder if we inserted a currency, that might be interesting, just to see what the rhythm is to that. Also, at the same time, let's see, what should we put in there? We could put the euro in there. Let's see what the euro looks like. You know what we should put? The Swiss franc. The Swiss franc would be a great instrument to put in there. Oop, where is it at? Let's see. Cancel. Let's try that again. Yeah, let's put a currency in there. I think I have a. I think I have one that shows like gold, oil. Let's go over to that instead of messing with this more than what we need to do. Let's go into here, and it's the day chart one. We have one that shows 4 or 5 products. Yeah, right. Where's it at? It is TVX. That's it right there. There it is. So you have. Okay, we need to change the futures contract on that, it looks like. So gold is still the same, but oil is expired and natural and NQs have expired. Format instrument. Let's put that in there. There we are. And then we have to do this one too, oil. And what we could do is you can see here's gold. Gold, you would think that gold would be more important than oil. But notice when they all broke, they broke together. So let's see if we can just insert one more instrument. And let's put the spot cash of the U.S. Swiss in there. There it is right there. Now, when the dollar is going down, this product is going up, and when the dollar is, you can see here, the dollar goes up, this product is going down. So we can do this a little bit more like that. And you can see this. See like that. There it is, like that. Guess we could put the dots in there too. Kind of, I don't know if it does or doesn't, but it is interesting. You see here the breakdown. Matter of fact, what was interesting is the Bitcoin was breaking down even more. It started really here. There's its high. It missed that whole move there in the stock market. It joined in with the oil here, or gold. I'm sorry, it joined in with the gold right there. The oil rolled over with the stock market. And since this is going down, that's telling you that the dollar is going down and Bitcoin was rising. So that is really the way, like I said, I've been disappointed that the cryptos didn't have much more, more independence. Oh, and I see we need to change that too. Let's fix that. Format, let's see, instrument. Let's throw X in there. Let's see. I guess we can do a V in there. V goes in there. Right there. There we are. So you can see here, it's joining in with the stock market. It is joining in with the gold. Oil is firm with it, and as the dollar is dropping, the Bitcoin is going up. So it is definitely. I wonder if let's see if we move it like this. and you can see is dollar drops, Bitcoin goes up in value. So it is an alternative, like a currency. That's the way I've looked at it. That's why I call them cryptocurrencies, because I find them to be more of a currency of an asset class than anything else. And so that is really the way, looking at this particular asset class, the new asset class. And that's what it really is that the Bitcoin is the new asset class. It's an electronic asset, and it's trying to deviate away from central banks and government regulations and try to be purist of capitalism. And so that's where we are at the moment. I guess we should throw the dots in there just to join in with the rest of the gang there. It's kind of neat. Indicator. Whoa, look at all that stuff. What is going on there? Cancel. Oh, I see what it is. So, indicator, add, and that's HZ bars. HZ down. We can do both of them at the same time. And HZ up. And that goes to the bottom one, which is fine. And I say okay. And then, okay. So, let's see, number 5, like so. Number 5, like so. There we are. Oh, that's there. And that's there. There we are. And so you can see that this is the Swiss. So the dollar is rising, then breaking. And we, just kind of, and you can see the low here put in by the dollar on the downside. And the dollar starts to rally, and you get even harsher selling in the Bitcoin. So we move that up more like that. Let's see, widen out to there. There we are. And so that move here, when this thing topped, this thing bottomed. So the dollar started to rally, and the Bitcoin collapsed. Interesting. So just a little fun time there looking at the cryptos. Let's file save this for the next time we want to dissect it. And matter of fact, this might be the title today when we, is that, let's see, cryptocurrency versus all asset classes. I think that'll be the title of this. Let's see, save. Yes. That's what this is going to be about, which is interesting, because that is, let's see, what's the other saying there? That is an important factor, is that people are trying to understand the asset class that it fits into. And it is a curious one, that's for sure. And people like my nephew, who thought if I didn't consider it like land, then I obviously don't understand what I'm looking at. That was his opinion, which was kind of whack. But that is what it is. So, oh, Lord. So that's where we are at this point. All right. No, back that off. Land. A cryptocurrency that's like land. Isn't that odd? I guess I never really thought of like a USB, a stick, a memory stick to be land. I never really thought of it that way. So that'll be the title. Let's see. Crypto assets versus old assets. There we go. And that's what that's how we'll look at it today. That's cool. All right. Let's see now. So we got that saved, and we'll move away from this since we've beat the dead horse on that, and close. Now, where are we at? We are in the Forex again, and that is the crypto that we were looking at. And now what we can do is let's save this to save. Just thought it was interesting to have the stock market in there, how it marches along with the stock market, natural rhythm. And I guess that's it when it comes to the currencies. I guess we're done there, and we can go back over to the assets, unless somebody wants to see something. I wonder what the DAX is doing. Let's see what that is. It's rallying too. Now, I don't think that's all-time highs, but it's definitely going after the September numbers. Let's see where the all-time highs are in this. Yeah, I guess so. So there's like all-time highs up in there, and it's challenging that area there too. Just like all the rest of those stock indices. Most of the stock indices across the planet are pushing hard to get to their highs. Someone said something very interesting this morning. I think it was Maria Bartiromo. She said that markets are not reflecting a Biden victory because why would the markets be roaring up when he's talking about putting on $4.4 trillion in new taxes? And I have to agree with her. Now, JP Morgan came out this morning, their quant analyst came out and said, don't be surprised when you don't get the blue wave. In other words, Biden doesn't win. And he was showing his reasoning behind it in an algorithm. He was looking at registrations of voters. And so the two of them have some interesting points of view in different ways. Maria is looking for, 4 point some odd trillion in new taxes that Biden claims he's going to do. And the stock market is here near all-time highs. So obviously they don't see a Biden victory whatsoever. And that's why currencies are probably mixed. They don't have much of a reason to be jumping around. All right, so now let's see. We looked at, what did we look at? Did we look at everything in here? There's the DAX. We looked at you see lumber. Lumber was interesting. Lumber ran up no more than a month ago. Less than a month ago at this point. I guess no, it was a full month ago, back in August. Up to $800 and some odd a board foot, and has now fallen down over the last 6 weeks, down to $500 some odd a board foot. That's a pretty interesting slide. And usually the commodities and lumber in particular represents the growth of the the housing market and so forth. So it has me a little curious, trying to figure out what that is all about. We're hearing that the housing market is doing really, really well, and because people are moving out of the cities and running to the suburbs because they find that obviously living in the cities was not exactly a good thing during a national lockdown, disaster, whatever you want to call it. So I guess that was why we saw lumber go roaring up, up to over $800 a board foot. And now you can see it's moved down now that they've come up with a cure, or the pandemic is backing off. You can see that we're moving back, I guess, back to the mean, maybe. Let's see if we are. I guess it was hanging out in the threes and fours. I guess what is that? That's actually it's 285. This thing tripled almost in price. It almost tripled in price. Wow. And that was the pandemic freaking it out. People thinking that there's going to be enormous amounts of construction and growth in the suburbs. And so, board foot lumber went flying up almost triple in value. So from 285 to 830. Wow. That is a heck of a move. We had one trader paying attention to it. That's why I was paying attention to it. Normally I don't, stare at lumber. But we had one client that was chasing lumber and hogs. What an interesting combination. guess they have to build little houses for the hogs. I don't know. I don't see how they can correlate the two, but he did. And he's still trading with us, but he's dropped lumber, and he's now got beans in there. So that's kind of curious to see the beans in there. All right, where do we go from here? No questions so far, besides 47s on the S&P. Let's take a look at the Nasdaq. There's the Nasdaq there, very close to all-time highs. That is all-time highs right there. We're only a couple hundred points off. It would take nothing for this thing to jack itself through that area. And you can see daily buy since here. It's been a nice little pop, and a weekly buy right there. Same thing. So we are on the third day. Interesting. Friday goes into a buy and a weekly buy and daily buy. And we get instant gratification out of that one. Who else have we not looked at over in this sector? Oh, let's take a look at the Russell. There's the Russell. I see the Russell like the old Nasdaq. You know, Nasdaq for literally a century and a half was always the speculative stock side of the economy. In other words, the little companies that are trying to grow all come through the Nasdaq, and then they slowly inch their way into success. They go to the New York Stock Exchange, that type of thing, or the Amex, one or the other. But in this case here, let's see if we can move this over a little bit. You can see the product fell down into the 12s during all the panic. Now it's up at the 16s, and I think 17 and change is the all-time high. So this thing is also doing its best. The young, Russell's made up of small caps, so like nothing bigger than like $3 billion, I believe. So we're seeing, and what's $3 billion nowadays for a company? Not much. So we're seeing the Russell trying to turn up also at the same time, and it's taken out its August highs. Because here you can see there's the August highs of the S&P, and they're just at parity with it. And that was all-time highs too at the same time. Whereas the Russell, right there, has taken out those August highs. And I believe, like I said, 117 changes the all-time high. I think I can... no, I'm not going to worry about finding it exactly. But it's well worth thinking about and watching. Because when we were younger as traders, everybody would watch the Nasdaq. And when the Nasdaq showed a lot of strength and became extremely overbought, we always thought the speculators were, way overzealous, and you could sell the market. And so we're not at all-time highs. So this means there's probably more room on the stock indices on the upside, because I think we're looking at 1740 or something like that, or 30. So it's like a good 100 points still away. So there's plenty of room on the upside. And then see, that was the position of the Nasdaq for a long time. Now those companies permeate the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So the top tiered stocks in the Nasdaq 100, this particular product right here. Where is it at? Not that. That's natural gas. There it is right there. So the companies in this are 7 or 8 of them. Matter of fact, let me take a look and see. I think we go through the list here. Since no one's asking any questions, I'll educate myself too at the same time. Let's see. There it is. And data. And let's get rid of that. And then Market Lab. And then we'll put that in there. And let's see if we can find the list. Let's see what we do here. The Dow stocks. Oh, here they are. Okay, right there. And we're going to show you that. We're going to move this screen over to that. Right there. And there they are. So 3M is an old New York Stock Exchange. The American Express is, but Amgen is not. Apple is not. Cisco is not. That's 3. Let's see. Intel 4. Microsoft 5. Nike, I think, is. I'm not sure if Nike's in what exchange. I think that's a Nasdaq also. 6. Salesforce 7. Let's see. Verizon, Walgreens. So 7 of the Dow Jones Industrial Average stocks, which 10 years ago, if you'd have told somebody it was going to be in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, 7 of the top tier stocks of the Nasdaq was going to be in the Dow Jones Industrial Average, they would have looked at you and said, "You're out of your mind. You have no idea. Go away." And here it is now. I mean, when you really look at it, Apple, the number one stock on the earth, right, in the equity markets. Cisco Systems, the number one networking company on the earth. Where else is there? So we got Intel, the number one chip manufacturer. Microsoft, the number one software manufacturer. Salesforce. Surprisingly, Salesforce is in there versus Amazon. I guess Amazon's just too expensive. And I can tell you this. I think IBM's still in there. There you go. IBM used to be the number one computer company right there. That has gone in and out of the Dow off and on throughout the years. They do that. They move things in and they move them out the way they make the decisions. And IBM had doubled one time. They pulled it out and then it doubled. They knew the people who've basically decided who's in the Dow Industrial Average knew that some companies were going to get out of just go wild, and they pulled them out. They pulled them out. They thought that would not represent the industrialization of this society. And then they put it back in. I think the IBM has been in and out of it 3 times over the last 100 years, which is fascinating because they pulled it out at one point and it doubled twice. They split the stock and it doubled in price. Then split the stock again, it doubled in price. It would have made the Dow right now trading at 2,800 or 2,900. You can see it right here. It would have made the Dow. It's that's Friday's close of right there, 28. Let's see if we can make this bigger again. There it goes. 28,586, the close. Would have made this product possibly a $4,000 index at this time, a $40,000 index already. So it's always curious and interesting to see this action. And like I said, you see Amgen is in there, the number one biotech. NQs now represent a major part of our economy. And, with the Microsoft in there and the athletic Nike thing going on. Then you have your old liners like, Procter & Gamble or Travelers Insurance or Verizon Communications or, Walmart, which is the number one retailer. So, matter of fact, look at Salesforce last week. Up $18. This is last week's numbers. Up $18 for the week. Walmart was up $2.28. United Health ran too, up $15 last week. What was it? Microsoft was up $9 last week. So it's very fascinating. And then you had Goldman up $7, and they're up another $4 today. 3M had leaped up also. So interesting to watch the old assets with the new assets all being a part of of this new reality. And so when we look at cryptocurrencies, it's pretty hard to not appreciate that whole situation there. All right, we are done. It looks like it's been a very quiet Wednesday, enormously. So Doc had a chance to really dissect some, concepts about assets. But we never know what's going to happen. So anyway, traders, we will catch you on Thursday, and we'll send you out with happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends.